Good morning, you're watching A News. I'm Nadia Jani. Let's see your headlines. Hamas officials say 73 people have died in Gaza near aid distribution sites, while the IDF says that figure is greatly exaggerated. Iran and the European three are set to resume nuclear talks this week. And Azerbaijan hosts the third edition of Shusha Global Media Forum. At least 73 people were reportedly killed in Gaza on Sunday, according to the territory's Hamas-run health ministry. Officials say most of the deaths occurred near Gaza City, where large crowds had gathered to access humanitarian aid. The Israeli military confirmed it fired warning shots near the Zikam crossing, but denied responsibility for the fatalities. The United Nations World Food Programme said one of its 25 truck aid convoys came under gunfire after entering northern Gaza. Separately, health officials say 18 people had died from famine within 24 hours. The UN has repeated its call for urgent humanitarian access. The Syrian Ministry of Emergency and Disaster has announced that the government is providing aid to residents in the city of Sweida. Teams stationed at the humanitarian crossing point have evacuated 2 families so far, but officials emphasize the need to repair infrastructure to improve the humanitarian situation, citing damage to the electricity network, a fuel shortage affecting communication towers, and a lack of fuel for water stations. Iran and the European three will resume talks on Friday in Istanbul to address the nuclear program crisis. The negotiations, initiated by the European three, which include the UK, France and Germany, will involve Deputy Foreign Ministers Majid Takhravanchi and Kazim Garibabadi, representing Iran. The meeting aims to revive the joint comprehensive plan of action and reduce tensions surrounding Tehran's nuclear activities. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says Kyiv has proposed a fresh round of peace talks with Russia. In his Saturday address, President Zelensky confirmed that Ukraine had invited Russia to resume peace negotiations next week. The talks would follow 2 previous rounds held in Istanbul, which led to prisoner swaps but no major breakthroughs. Zelensky urged Moscow to stop hiding from decisions and called for urgent steps towards a ceasefire.
Negotiation dynamics must increase. Everything must be done to achieve a ceasefire. The Russian side must stop avoiding decisions, the exchange of prisoners, the return of children, the cessation of killings. A meeting at the level of leaders is needed to truly ensure peace, a lasting peace. Ukraine is ready for such a meeting.
Russian President Vladimir Putin is open to peace talks over Ukraine, according to the Kremlin, but insists Russia's objectives must be achieved. The comments come after US President Donald Trump issued a new ultimatum on Moscow. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov says Russia is ready to move swiftly toward a peace deal in Ukraine, but claims the process can't succeed without cooperation from the West. In an interview with State TV, he said Putin's goals remain clear and unchanging, despite recent US threats of new sanctions and a 50-day ceasefire deadline.
That was a deal. They don't want to.
Indeed, President Putin has repeatedly spoken of his desire to bring the Ukrainian settlement to a peaceful conclusion as soon as possible. This is a long process. It requires effort. It is not easy, and it seems Washington is increasingly coming to understand this. Russia is prepared to move swiftly. For us, the main thing is to achieve our objectives. They are clear, obvious, and unchanging. But the process doesn't depend solely on us.
US Senator Adam Schiff is once again in US President Donald Trump's firing line. He faces accusations related to property loans fraud. However, beyond the headlines, Schiff is grappling with serious allegations involving financial misconduct and ethical concerns.
California Senator Adam Schiff is facing renewed scrutiny after President Donald Trump accused him of mortgage fraud. Schiff declined to address these allegations directly. In a recent Truth Social post, President Trump called the senator a thief. US leader claimed that Schiff should be prosecuted, just like they tried to prosecute him. Previously speaking via Truth Social, Trump claimed that Schiff misled mortgage lenders by listing his Maryland home as his primary residence. Despite serving as a congressman from California, according to Trump, Schiff tried to secure better loan terms. The president called Schiff a crook and alleged a pattern of misrepresentation starting in 2009, continuing through 2020. According to a memo reviewed by the Los Angeles Times, a Fannie Mae investigation found that Schiff and his wife had, at various times, listed different properties. The memo concluded that the couple showed a sustained pattern of possible occupancy misrepresentation. When approached by Fox News Digital on Capitol Hill, Schiff declined to respond to the accusations and simply said, "Have a nice day."
Trump posted this on social media, accusing me of crimes and saying...
In a video statement posted to YouTube, Schiff dismissed the claims as politically motivated. Schiff called the accusations an act of political retaliation. The congressman, who led Trump's first impeachment, was elected to the US Senate in 2024 after serving 12 terms in the House.
Japan's Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba is facing mounting pressure after his coalition lost its majority in the upper house after Sunday's election. Despite the setback, Ishiba says he has no plans to resign.
Japan's Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba says he will remain in office after his ruling coalition suffered a heavy defeat in the upper house election on Saturday. The Liberal Democratic Party and its partner Komeito failed to secure the 50 seats needed to retain their majority. The loss deepens Ishiba's political troubles, coming less than a year after his coalition also lost control of the more powerful lower house. His government now becomes Japan's first minority administration in more than 3 decades. The result is widely seen as a rebuke from voters who are struggling with the rising cost of living, particularly with food prices such as rice. A string of political scandals has also weakened public trust in the Liberal Democratic Party.
I think the ruling party had great opportunities, such as Trump's outrage and the soaring rice prices. Had the ruling party resolved even one of these issues, their approval rate would have gone up. But we didn't feel anything, and it seems like the US would continue to push us around.
I think the government should tax people in a more effective way. It should tax the people who are earning a lot. People with lower incomes should not suffer.
Opposition parties, especially the Constitutional Democratic Party, led by the former Prime Minister Yoshihiko Noda, made gains. But it's the rise of smaller far-right parties, such as Sanseito, that's drawing attention. Their anti-immigration, ultra-nationalist messaging appears to have cut into the Liberal Party's more traditional base. Despite calls for his resignation, Ishiba says his priority is guiding Japan through critical trade talks with the United States, with a deadline looming next month. But with internal party rivals waiting in the wings and voter confidence shaken, questions remain over how long Ishiba can hold on.
South Korea says it's exploring ways to improve relations with the North, including possibility of allowing individual tours. Tourism isn't banned under United Nations sanctions, but access remains limited. It comes as President Lee Jae-myung moves to ease tensions, though key hurdles remain, including halting loudspeaker broadcasts and leaflet campaigns along the border. The Shusha Global Media Forum taking place in Azerbaijan continues today. Our Orkhan Amashov is at the venue bringing us the latest updates. Hi Orkhan, tell us what can we expect today and can you give us any highlights about what happened yesterday?
Hello Nadia, good morning to you. Yes indeed, yesterday was a very hectic day here in Shusha. At first day, the welcoming day was in Khankandi, but yesterday was the panel discussion was held in Shusha, and the fundamental focus there was on the artificial intelligence, with the key focus being on the question whether we will be impervious to some of the innovatives of artificial intelligence, which is the first platform, technological platform, which is actually capable of thinking. It may not have feelings, but it's capable of thinking. And there's a question of domination of intelligence technology in relation to, of course, human beings. And yesterday, of course, the participant, I think that 142 participants from about 140 participants from 52 countries visited the city of Agdam, as has been the practice over the past couple of years. Although the Shusha Global Media Forum is fundamentally taking place in Shusha, but also participants are able to visit different parts of Karabakh, including Agdam and Lachin. They were to the Imarat complex, to the bus and railway station, and also to Khanal village, and managed to understand to what extent Azerbaijan has managed to kind of revive this territory, which has been, of course, was under occupation prior to 2020, and Azerbaijan fully restored its sovereignty over this territory in September 2023. So yesterday did have two fundamental elements, one being about the first panel discussion where Ubey Shapanda was present, and that was about the innovative approaches to the question of media ethics and digitalization, and some of the concerns about the concept of truth in the midst of automation in the age of artificial intelligence. And the second element was about Agdam. A fake news subject was discussed extensively by many participants, and also by local analysts as well, because as I'm sure everybody know, Azerbaijan suffered a great deal from the spread of fake news during the years of occupation, and it is not a coincidence that here in Karabakh, for the 3 consecutive years, Azerbaijan is hosting this conference with the fake news subject being extensively discussed. But as long as today is concerned, day 3, it's going to be a hectic day. We'll have 2 or 3 panel discussions. My colleagues will be participating. But one of the key highlights of day 3 of Third Shusha Global Media Forum, of course, is a screening of Destination Shusha film and the official launch of the opinion section of the A News TV channel. And that will kick off literally in 10-15 minutes. And I'll be there introducing that opinion section, explaining its creed, its meaning, how it has emerged, and to what extent it is vital to the identity, to evolving identity of A News TV channel.
Lovely, that's great. Thank you so much, Orkan. In an age where disinformation often spreads faster than facts, media literacy is no longer a choice, it's a necessity. At the third Shusha Global Media Forum, global media leaders, experts and policymakers came together to ask, can truth survive the rise of AI? And how can journalism adapt in a world of digital deception?
In a world increasingly defined by data, algorithms, and instant information, the challenge is no longer just about staying connected. It's about staying aware, informed, and resilient. Can media literacy empower people to navigate this complex new reality? It is precisely these questions that brought global media leaders, thinkers, and policymakers together in the cultural heart of Karabakh, in the city of Shusha, for one of the most vital conversations of the year.
Today, we don't just consume news, we navigate it. On the third Shusha Global Media Forum, this phrase is very often said by the media experts. In a time where truth competes with speed and facts must fight of space among feeds, the third Shusha Global Media Forum steps in not just as a global event, but as a response to a global media turning point. Held in the symbolic city of Shusha, a place of a cultural revival and strategic vision, the forum gathered voices from across the world and professionals, policymakers, academics, and digital innovators, all converging under one vital theme: digital pathways, strengthening information, and media resilience in the age of artificial intelligence. But what did that look like in the practice? Let's hear from the experts themselves.
In the early 1990s, Azerbaijan faced isolation, propaganda, disinformation, and had over 1 million refugees. 20% of its territory was gone, no hope in sight. The most painful question President Aliyev heard back then when visiting refugee camps was, when will we return home? Many are still haunted by that question. But yesterday's message was clear: never give up. The answer is in your heart and your actions. Don't wait for miracles. Act. Believe. That's why this forum touches me so deeply. It carries a different character this year, and it reminds us, we journalists must be brave, must write the truth, no matter the cost.
Delegations, including foreign journalists and international representatives, departed Shusha for Agdam, touring significant sites such as the Imarat complex, once the palace of Panahali Khan, which was heavily damaged during occupation. They visited the Agdam railway and bus terminal complex, newly reconstructed as a symbol of revived connectivity. In Khojaly, participants observed restoration at Kadirli village, new local facilities such as kindergartens and schools, indicating the region's social renewal. As disinformation grows into a powerful geopolitical weapon, media literacy is no longer optional. It's essential. More than just a tool, it has become a frontline defense, empowering individuals to question, verify, and think critically in a digital landscape flooded with noise.
Yesterday, the President Ilham Aliyev also spoke extensively on this issue. We must distinguish the attacks against our country across several categories and classifications. First and foremost, these attacks come from Western media circles. However, for some reason, whenever disinformation is discussed today, the focus immediately shifts to social media or artificial intelligence platforms. Yet, Azerbaijan's experience clearly shows that a number of highly influential media outlets are at the forefront of systematically conducting disinformation campaigns against our country.
As the discussion turned toward journalism itself, the forum didn't shy away from the hard questions. Can editorial judgment survive automation? Can truth survive AI? And will media literacy keep pace with the rapidly evolving tools of digital deception?
How can media members become digitally literate? That would fill many PhD topics. But starting with one event like this is perfect, because if I'm not wrong, 140 international guests, 52 countries, and of course all you from Azerbaijan. And you talk about artificial intelligence. And perhaps last year we did more social media and disinformation. This year it is probably more about digital life. Artificial intelligence, is it a threat or not? Now, if the audience here agrees about the subject, that is a wonderful bridge builder, is it not? Third Global Media Forum in Shusha, entire world is here, agrees on the topic, goes back home and hopefully continues to cooperate.
You were really the victim in 30 years of occupation, and yet this hasn't really come across to the global media. So what you have the opportunity with these forum, or fora, if you want to be correct, is that chance to get across that message. But I would say you need to be very, very clear, because for every Azerbaijani knows what happened in Agdam. When we say the Hiroshima of the Caucasus, we know that this place was left in total ruins. But even if you tell people that, they need to know the history, they need to know who did it, why they did it.
As the guests are exploring pressing issues of the digital era, the forum is preparing for its third day to give answers to even more questions.
Staying with the third Shusha Global Media Forum, Azerbaijan raised serious concerns over systematic disinformation campaigns targeting the country. Presidential aide Hikmat Hajiev told reporters that some of the world's most influential media outlets had played a leading role in spreading false narratives, often going beyond social media and AI platforms. He warned that deepfake technologies are now being used to distort the voices of Azerbaijani officials, while diaspora groups continue pushing historical and religious misinformation about Karabakh.
For the first time in human history, there is a second thinking platform outside the human brain. That is, we must distinguish artificial intelligence not only from social media and algorithms, but also from what is known as machine learning technology. This system receives information, processes vast amounts of data, thinks independently, and makes its own decisions. It can even influence algorithmic processes. In this case, could professional journalism itself become susceptible to the manipulative elements of artificial intelligence? Yes, it is a vast and complex topic. That is why today, one of the important tasks for Azerbaijani media is to study artificial intelligence. When we meet with media leaders, whether in television or online media, we are already discussing the application of artificial intelligence in daily operations and studying international practices. If we look at translation work today, especially in the provision of voiceovers in the Azerbaijani language, while certain technical aspects are still not quite where we want them to be, In foreign languages, such as Russian and English, there have been good results in terms of providing translation. And these technologies are already being applied on several of our media platforms. I can even mention one example. We conducted an experiment within the Azerbaijani media, publishing an article generated entirely by artificial intelligence on one of the country's leading news platforms. But no one was able to tell the difference, whether it was written by AI or by a journalist. This in itself is part of a much broader discussion.
Archaeological work continues in Turkey's Kahramanmaraş, where new discoveries from the Late Bronze Age have been made. At Yassi Mound, a team has unearthed structures and silos believed to be used for storage, sparking hopes of finding written sources.
In the Afshin district of Kahramanmaraş, excavations at Yassi Mound are revealing important clues from ancient times. Teams have uncovered parts of a large structure and storage silos thought to date back to the Late Bronze Age or Hittite period. Excavation director says this season brought new excitement as a two-phase building process was identified, including signs of renovation. A number tablet was previously found at the site, possibly a form of receipt. This has fueled hopes of discovering more written records, especially from the Assyrian trade colonies period.
We're also experiencing the excitement of wondering, are we getting closer to written sources? Will we uncover any tablets or other findings?
Over the years, findings from multiple periods have emerged at the mound, from a Roman basilica to a Persian-era administrative complex. Experts believe the site may reveal even earlier history as they carefully sift through layers dating back to 6000 BC.
That's all your news for now. Have a wonderful morning and stay tuned to A News.